Welcome to the Only One Shot Golf Podcast. I'm Jim Gallagher Jr. Appreciate you spending some time with us today, and don't forget to subscribe to wherever you get your podcast. Appreciate everybody's support over the last year or so. It's great to be back. It had been a few weeks since I've done a podcast. I've been busy with Golf Channel duties, so it's great to be back here. It's great to be a Tennessee Vol these days, especially on the golf course, and Coach Brennan Webb will be joining us today of the men's golf team. He's done an incredible job rebuilding that Tennessee men's golf program back into not only a SEC contender, but also a national contender now in his sixth season. And after 5 seasons, they won 3 events twice, 8 tournament titles, an NCAA bid, and multiple regional bids. They've done that ever since he's been there. And got some great young players. The team's getting to be a little more experienced. You got Caleb Surratt, All-American now as a sophomore year. Broke just about every record that Tennessee has ever had. Actually won his first college event, the Maui Jim Intercollegiate, and turns around at the SEC Championship and wins that by 6 shots, shot 14 under, second best 54-hole score and lowest ever by a freshman in SEC history, and first freshman to win the SEC individual title since current PGA Pro Justin Thomas did that in 2012 when he was with the Alabama Crimson Tide. So Caleb's had a great career in just that 1 year, and just starting his sophomore year, played on the Walker Cup team. Big participant in that. Just got out there in those first matches, did a great job with that. And, you know, when you look back at last year, he averaged 69.58. Just an incredible season so far for him. But, you know, Brennan's done a great job, as I mentioned. Can't wait for you to get to spend some time with him. And let's get Brennan on the phone and spend a little time and find out what's going on with the Vols and what's coming up ahead for them.
Here we go.
All right, I've got Brennan Webb back on the podcast. Coach, I appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
You're a busy man. I guess that's what happens when you run a successful program, huh?
Yeah, it takes a lot to give these guys all the opportunities that we can give them, and to bring in all the extra stuff that comes with having some success. So it's been a hectic fall already, but looking forward to continuing it on, and we'll get some rest in November. Yeah,
preseason number 10, coming off a win in the first event. You've had 5 seasons there in Knoxville. You've captured 3 wins and twice team wins. It's been an amazing run for you, but didn't quite finish the season maybe the way obviously we all expected, but a very young team. But kind of recap last season, and then we'll get into this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it was probably the best regular season in the history of the program. Won the SEC Fall Preview Match Play Tournament, won a couple other times. Then, led the medal play at the SEC Championship, made it to the semifinals of that tournament for the first time ever. Unfortunately, lost to Vanderbilt, who's obviously a great team, and in extra holes. And so, had a really good regular season, and then unfortunately just went down to Auburn during regionals and laid an egg. Sometimes that's just what golf has in store. And so it was an experience that we didn't enjoy going through, but one that I believe will be extremely beneficial for us as we continue forward.
Yeah, very young team. What do you think that the team takes from, a great season but doesn't finish it off quite like that? What do you think some of the lessons that were learned?
I think it's just what happens when you maybe lose sight of your standards and what you're trying to accomplish. And probably young guys had a whole lot of success, didn't go through a lot of adversity at all during the regular season like we talked about, and probably we're prepared mentally for the adversity when it did come. And unfortunately, it was a bad time of year for it to come, but that's what happens in our sport.
How do you prepare, someone, or how do you kind of revamp them after they've had a couple bad tournaments? How do you kind of get them back in and refocused, or if they had the great tournaments, keep them focused?
Yeah, I think you just got to find, what got you there, and never lose sight of that, to make sure that, you're going through the process that you were going through to have the success. And a lot of times when you look back and reflect after a bad tournament, you realize, something's changed, whether it's your mindset or maybe got a little complacent in your preparation. And, a lot of those things happen to us. It's like I said, I think it'll be extremely beneficial as we go forward.
Preseason, as I mentioned, number 10, how do you manage the expectations, or how do the players manage the expectations that they might have coming into this season? Because they've won the first event. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I mean, I think you just meet them head on. They're what they are, and they're well justified that we should have high expectations. An incredibly talented group, and I don't think we run away from those expectations. But at the same time, just go back and realize that there's things we need to do to live up to those expectations, and put all our energy and time into those things.
Mentioned that first tournament, you come out, you play at Tennessee National, one of your home courses, and you shoot some very low numbers, but Caleb Surratt's sick after coming back from the Walker Cup. You don't have him the last two rounds, but you count 4 scores and 4 players. That's a lot of pressure, but they held on and beat your old boss, Chris Malloy's Rebels, by a shot. How proud of you, and tell us about that first win for the season.
Yeah, it was amazing. I can't imagine having it go any better. To have the 4 guys do it without Caleb for the last 36 holes be extremely beneficial to them, give them a whole lot of confidence, and gives us a lot to learn from. Without Caleb, it was hard. It's a hard deal when you're doing 4 count 4, and we're very excited that we came through it on the other side. We wish that Caleb wasn't sick, and we hopefully would have had a little easier victory, but maybe not learned as much as we did. And so I couldn't have written up the script any better, to be honest, to start the year. It was really, really cool to see those young guys step up and do their deal.
Yeah, I spent a few days with y'all last spring at Bossy Oak, and you got a great group of young men. You can tell you've done a great job with them, and I enjoyed being with them, and I think this team really has potential to continue on playing well. There's just no reason why they can't, like you said, have an experience like that and not having your top player there. But tell us about Caleb Surratt and the impact he's had on the program. He wins his first college event. He wins the SEC by like 6 shots. I mean, an amazing player. What's the impact he's had, and what's he, kind of what are these guys learning from someone like that?
Yeah, Caleb is extremely focused on what he's doing. He has a goal of being the best player in the world, and he's going through all of the steps and process necessary to achieve those goals. Certainly doesn't leave anything for chance. He takes care of all of his business. He certainly works extremely hard, as well as being extremely talented. It's a really good combination. And so the things that he's done since he has been here have been incredible. Obviously winning the SEC championship as a freshman, being the very first team All-American in the history of the program. It was just allowed me to know that everything that you want to achieve can be done here. And it certainly has been a sign and a beacon for us in our program.
Yeah, it's got to help in recruiting for sure. But you went over to the Walker Cup. Tell us that experience. That had to be really cool. And at St. Andrews on top of that.
Yeah, incredible experience to be able to see Caleb competing at the level that he did. And obviously at St. Andrews just made it that much more special. I joked, I was like, man, if you're going to make one of these, this is the one.
Yeah.
It was an incredible atmosphere, and had a great time. One of the best golf experiences I've had in my life. And Caleb kept saying thanks for coming and supporting me and helping me out, but I was thanking him for giving me the opportunity to go do something like that. It was just incredible.
Have you ever played over there at St. Andrews? You ever spent much time playing in Scotland?
I have actually played there when I was a senior in high school with my dad and my sister, and then spent some time over there a little bit later. Played in the British Amateur at Turnberry and a few other tournaments with some of my college teammates that were from Ireland. So had an enjoyable experience, and it was great to be back.
Yeah, it's different golf, isn't it? I think the cool part, and I tell this story, is I played St. Andrews for the Open and walk up on the practice tee and hits a few balls and walk over to the first tee, and there's Jack Nicklaus with 3 or 4 clubs in his hands, and I walk up to him and I say, well, are you going to play, or what's up? He goes, well, I'm going to play with these 4 clubs. I said, can I join you? And he said, sure. And so he basically taught me how to play St. Andrews. Each hole, where to go, because you don't necessarily always go down the fairway. It is the best path to the green, but the safest is left. And I noticed Caleb played a few of those spots. But just watching these guys and able to drive 3 or 4 of the greens, I mean, there's always that talk on distance, but it's pretty cool to watch how they get to play it now versus what we did in the 90s. And you've seen it since you've played there. A lot of changes now in the way the equipment and the way these guys play the game.
Yeah, I was telling some of them that guys used to hit driver off number 1 at times if the wind was a little bit into you. These guys are hitting 4 irons and 3 irons, so they're like looking at me like I'm kind of crazy. So it was it's definitely different from growing up watching the Open back in the day to how they play it now. Much like a lot of other golf courses, but still provided a challenge with the green complexes and the wind, obviously, the last couple of days.
Saw a few of your old buddies, John Houston, a few of the guys that did the Champs event up in Calgary, and they were real proud of you, talking about how good a job you done. If you look back at that experience, you did a little caddy and you played, then you went caddy a little bit for John, and then got into coaching. What did you learn from those experiences from some of those guys that's been helping you now as a coach at Tennessee?
Just to have the experience of being around people that were as elite as those guys were, kind of gave me a little bit more insight into the things that I maybe was lacking in my game. And I've been able to share some of those things with these guys as we kind of go through this process. And they're trying to achieve all the dreams that they have, that those guys obviously did and live like yourself. So it's been, I think it just adds a little credibility to some of the stories I tell and some of the, lessons that I'm trying to teach them, and certainly helped me along the way to be able to be around those guys.
Your old head coach at Georgia Tech made a great run in the NCAAs. I know we talked about. I got to follow him, got to know him. It's pretty cool. But you're seeing some of your guys, your old coaches, they're having a lot of success now. You're having success. It's got to be really pretty cool to sit back and watch him. I really thought they were going to pull that one off, didn't you?
I sure did, but I think there's a lot of people that were cheering for Coach Helper to get his first NCAA championship after the incredible career he's had, but I've always said to him that it doesn't really change anything. He's still one of the best, if not the best, that's ever done this, and it was certainly I'm sure heartbreaking for him, but obviously very well played match by Florida, and Coach Deacon does a great job down there, and he's as well very deserving of the championship.
Absolutely. I got to spend time with him, and he says, I'm pretty much a control freak, right? And I said, well, I'm gathering that. He goes, well, I'm not in control of this right now. It's driving me crazy. So I thought that was kind of – I said, why'd you get into coaching? But he's quite the character, and I know you learned a lot from him. But you've got to watch some pretty cool sports around the Tennessee athletic program. You were actually at the Tennessee – we got to do this. We got to go ahead and get on Bama a little bit. But you were at the Tennessee-Bama game, the football game. Tell us about that, because I've talked to everybody. They said they couldn't even hear each other talking to each other next to them.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. Definitely the loudest sporting environment that I'd ever been around. Certainly, we've been chomping at the bit to finally get one. And I try to explain to the guys on my team that rivalry used to be the other way. Alabama couldn't even dream of beating us in football. It was really only Florida that had a chance year in and year out. And so for them to get to see Tennessee beat Alabama for the very first time of their lives, for some of them, it was incredible. And certainly hope Coach Heupel can continue going forward with the program. It's made an incredible impact on our athletic department as a whole. Obviously, it's always the big driver of everything, and the environment he's created for the fans, and just how different it is from maybe my first 2 years on campus. It's been awesome.
Yeah, Coach Barnes in basketball, Tony in baseball. What's the impact of those other sports for the athletic program? And I'm missing other programs because they're all doing so well. And I think it's a great time, as I mentioned. We always like to say it's great to be at Tennessee Vol. What's been the impact of all the sports having success? It's got to help you in recruiting as well.
Yeah, I mean, not only from recruiting, but it's just also motivating. To be around all of the programs, and you just don't want to be the one that's dragging behind and lagging behind. So it's been incredible. The opportunity for me to be able to talk to other coaches and learn from the experiences they've gone through. I spent 30 minutes on the phone with Coach Barnes yesterday, sitting on the range, watching a couple guys hit some balls and just talking about some of the mental processes his guys are going through and struggles that they're having and how he's dealt with that. And then, talk to Coach Weekly from the softball coach, who's a legendary coach.
Yep.
she's really helped me this off season kind of learn from that disappointment of how last season ended. Kelly Harper, the Lady Vol basketball coach, who was a great Lady Vol basketball player herself, won a bunch of national championships as a starting point guard for Coach Summit. She's helped me a lot with some of the things that she's going through, and Coach V's a good buddy. We always get to bounce stuff off each other. So it's been awesome. It's been very, very beneficial for me and for my coaching, and I'm sure others feel the same way. But just the motivation of wanting to match the standard that everyone else is setting has been an incredible driver.
Yeah, I know Coach Barnes likes to play golf. You get to play golf with any of these guys? Or gals, do they ever have any time to play?
Yeah, it's tough for everyone to have the same amount of off season. Coach Barnes and I have got out and played twice in my time here, and he loves the game. He's huge fan, and his previous stops at Clemson and Texas have helped him kind of appreciate how college golf is, and he's certainly been a big fan of our program and helped us along the way too.
Yeah, I met him with Coach Mac Brown when Mac was at Texas. They were playing in the Dallas Pro-Am there at the Byron Nelson. I got to spend a little time with him. And I actually go when the Vols play Mississippi State. I sit on the front row, and my good buddy, he's a State fan, but I sit in those front row with my Tennessee Orange. And I don't know if he recognizes, but he sees the orange, so he kind of winks at me and waves. So it's always nice to rep the orange. And I, as you know, I'm a fan of Mississippi State and LSU, having kids going to all those schools. So I'm kind of tripolar as I kind of kid, but I still bleed orange, as everybody knows. But it's fun to be able to watch all these great programs. You were mentioning beating Alabama. I mean, I look back at the Ryder Cup team that I was on in '93. That's the last time the Americans won over there. And put it in perspective, Raymond Floyd is 81, and he was on that team. He was in his 50s, but he's still that puts it in perspective, and it's always nice to beat those rivals and get those wins. And Tennessee sure did that with football. But Bo Andrews qualified for the USAM again, and he got to play at Cherry Hills. What's it like to have not only a good coach, a good person, but a good player as well? And you're a good player as well. It has to help when you're coaching these guys, because they have that respect for you as coaches.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly what Bo's done, being able to qualify for 2 of the last 3 U.S. amateurs, playing about 4 or 5 rounds of golf, it certainly opens up some eyes and hopefully some ears from some of the young guys on our team that, he knows what's going on. He certainly knows how to play golf, and without the physical skill sets that some of them have, it certainly is a good lesson and great coaching opportunities for him for sure. And obviously, he's been a great deal to the program in our time here on Rocky Top. You
were able to bring a third coach in, Coach Eubank. Tell us about him, what he brings to the program.
Yeah, Kevin's a great young player himself. Probably hits it further than everyone else on the team, which is hard to believe.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But,
can he be on my team in the fall? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But he has a great feel and passion for coaching. He really has dug deep in with a couple of these guys and really helped them develop their game and their practice. He is just a really good kind of laid back energy that counteracts a little bit of what I'm bringing to the table probably. So makes a very nice coaching staff, and enjoyed everything that Caven has done so far.
You've got, as you mentioned, a team that's becoming more experienced. Have you added anybody? Tell us about the team, and tell us what the season looks like going forward.
Yeah, very fortunate. We had basically our entire postseason lineup and the next couple guys in the depth chart all return, and then added JP Parr, who's spent half his time in Jupiter, Florida, and half his time in Montreal during his high school years. Tremendous player, top 10 kind of recruit in that class. Really even-keeled, mature fella, and super athletic, and look forward to what he's bringing to the table. He's fit right in as expected, and it's been nice, and a little bit of a smaller roster than we've had since we got here. It's been really, really nice. Guys have gotten a lot of time and been very manageable, and really 9 really special guys that are all trying to be great, and nothing really holding us back in that regard. So it's been a really enjoyable month, I guess, since we've all been back together on campus, and really looking forward to continuing to see their growth.
You mentioned the Canadian connections there. You've got a couple guys on the team. Tell us about Canadian golf and how it's changed, and how, I mean, And you grew up there. They just love it, and you're seeing so many good players coming out of Canada now.
Yeah, I think Golf Canada has really, really made an emphasis on developing their players. Probably just after the era, maybe just after myself and my peers got through, Golf Canada really started to put a lot of money in. They started the national development team. They've expanded that to where it's now juniors, amateurs, young pros, and then pros. And so really putting a lot of resources in it. Kevin Blue, who played golf at Stanford and then was an athletic director at UC Davis, has returned home to be the CEO of Golf Canada. And to have somebody in that position that has the playing experience and the understanding of what goes into this has been very, very beneficial. I know I've had several conversations with Kevin and even met with him over there at the Walker Cup, and it's been great. I just feel like there's going to continue to be even more of a Canadian presence on tour and on all the tours than already there has been. You look back, the last President's Cup team, you had 2 guys from Canada on that team, and I think that's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, winners on the PGA Tour as well. Nick Taylor broke that streak. I actually worked that week. 54, I think it was the last time a Canadian won the Canadian Open, and what a putt, what a finish. Just like I said, a lot of great players there. But you mentioned the national team, USA's getting one as well. That's going to help the players here in the States as well, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously it's a little bit of a bigger footprint than some of these other countries, and certainly a lot more players that are going to go through that program, and the logistics that go with that will probably be a little bit more difficult, but an incredible hire yesterday that was announced with Chris Zambri becoming the head of that development program. Zambri's an incredible guy with great energy. He knows a lot about golf, a lot about developing players, and that's a really good first decision and bodes well for the direction of where that's going to go.
Yeah, he was at USC, and then he's been helping out at Pepperdine, and he understands college golf and young golf, and I think you're right. He's a great guy to have as well. The golf facility is one of the best in the country, but you've got a new addition. Is it opened up, or you finished up on that new part of the buildings there?
Yeah, the report was yesterday that we'll be inside and using it in 36 days. So I haven't taken the time to figure out what that date means, but it's been great to see that building go up. Incredible support from our donors to be able for that addition to go in. 3,600 square foot performance center that will include recovery and nutrition, a couple saunas, hot and cold tub, and just an incredible room and area for our guys to get some specific individualized workouts with Coach Greg and his staff, and to be able to have it right there on the range tee and keep the kind of the campus, I've started to call it, the golf campus, growing and becoming even more special than it already is. What's
been the impact of Coach Greg and the fitness and getting you guys, keeping them in shape, keeping them from being hurt?
Right, I think you see where golf's going and the speed that's necessary to compete at the highest levels. And Greg has done an incredible job learning in the last 4 or 5 years about golf and what goes into it. He took the time to fly down to Jupiter and meet with Colby Wayne, who's one of the leading instructors on tour when it comes to that stuff, and continues to keep just growing his knowledge and being able to help all of our guys. Look at someone like Bryce Lewis, who's put on 42 pounds of muscle since he got on campus, and there's a bunch of other stories like that. But Greg is an incredible, genuine man who cares about where these guys are going, not only in their golf, but in their personal growth. And he's been amazing and an integral part of the successes we've had. And I know he's looking forward to keep going. Bryce
Lewis has put on 42 pounds of muscle.
42 pounds of muscle and probably a little bit extra of some other stuff. But,
yeah.
He's came on campus at, I think it was 129 or 131 and up into the 170s now. So he's taken to that gym. He probably wasn't the guy that he thought was going to when he got on campus, but has certainly helped, and his ball striking has become elite, and a lot of that has to do with how much better his body moves and how much stronger he is.
Well, I'm definitely planning to tee her up, maybe 2 tees up now with these guys for sure. But you mentioned the supporters. You get a big Vol Golf Day coming up in November. Tell us when that is and how the listeners maybe want to come play or just can help support the golf team.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see the growth of that day, from where it started with 40 or 50 people to all the way up to over 100 last year. It's been an awesome day to have a bunch of alumni back, and also just people that have supported the program. They've gotten to know the players during that day with them out there hitting tee shots for them, and our friends at Tennessee National have always been very kind to us and give us access to their golf course on a Friday during football weekend is incredible. And it's a beautiful piece of property, Tennessee National. It's really adds to the day, and it's been awesome. And Coach Bo and Coach Eubank are available if anyone's interested in playing, but we're looking forward to having another great day and having you and your friends and former teammates back.
That's what, November 10th, as I recall?
November the 3rd.
3rd. Gosh, I got too many things on my calendar. I just looked at it wrong.
UConn football home game on the 4th. So
that's it. There we go. But you also got Vol Golf Camp coming up October 8th, I believe. People can sign up for that as well. So a lot going on. You talked about past alums. You got David Skins and Spencer Cross playing over at the Korn Ferry Tour event in Nashville. David looks like he's going to get his card back. He's 8th on the Korn Ferry list. That's got to be pretty special to see one of your guys, Spencer Cross. He's one of the finest guys I've ever met. I remember meeting him before he came to Knoxville. It would be pretty cool to see him having an opportunity there to play in Nashville this week.
Yeah, it's great. But in both cases, to have Skinsy get his card back and the amount of time and effort he's put into his career, and to see him continue to have the success he's had the last 3 years has been awesome. And then obviously Spencer, who's near and dear to my heart. I just love him as a person, and for him to start the year with no status at all, and then get an exemption into Knoxville and carry that through to where he's been able to play in the first 2 Korn Ferry Tour playoff events, speaks to his talent. And certainly no one I'm cheering more for than Spencer. I hope he has a great week over there at the Grove, with which is a special place also with some special people.
Yeah, he's a great kid. But what's coming up next, I think, is the tournament in Birmingham.
Yeah, we're going to actually have a few guys head out to Phoenix this weekend and play the tournament that Coach Thurman's hosting at Papago, their host course. They'll just play as individuals, and then we follow back up the week after with try to go back down to Birmingham, defend our title at the SEC Fall Preview / Match Play. I'm not sure what we're calling it these days, but yeah, looking forward to a busy fall. We've been very fortunate with the resources the athletic department has given us that all of our guys will have opportunity to play three events minimum through the fall, and give a chance to compete. And as you know, it's the easiest way to learn about what you need to work on is go out and test in competition. So very fortunate to have those resources to give those guys that opportunity, and don't have to worry about having to get in the lineup to get out on the road and qualify. So we're looking forward to a busy fall. It's been nice to have Coach Caven with us, and Bo and I have been able to get some extra stuff done, and looking forward to just continuing that going forward.
One last thing, how does playing in those match play events in the fall help you? Maybe when you play in the SEC Championship or the NCAAs, that's got to be a big plus to learn for these guys to learn to play match play, because they don't play it as much in the States as they do in a lot of parts of the world.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just the opportunity to go play match play has been very beneficial, because like you said, they don't play it other than maybe the U.S. Amateur and the Western Am. It's really not something that's prevalent over here. So every opportunity we get to, experience that and go through that is going to be beneficial as we go forward. And certainly all the important stuff that's worth winning in college golf right now is decided by match play, with the SEC Championship and the NCAA Championship both in that format. So something we need to continue to learn about and get better at. And first step last year, winning a match at the SEC tournament, and then also winning a match in the SEC Fall Championship. So been good, but something we continue to need to get better at, and look forward to that opportunity next week in Birmingham.
Well, I promise you less than 30 minutes. We've done that. You're a busy guy, and we appreciate you spending time with us, brother.
Thanks so much, Pro. Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, see you in November. Always great to catch up with Coach Brennan Webb, one of the bright stars in college golf, and appreciate him spending time. It's always tough to get these guys during the season, get 30 minutes of their time. They've got so many things going on and trying to organize, but appreciate him being with us. And appreciate you being with us. It's been a fun podcast. I hope you learned some stuff on the Tennessee Vols or just college golf in general. You learn a lot when you talk to these guys. And some of these guys they mentioned will be the future stars of the PGA Tour. So it's great to have them on. But appreciate Steve Azar for allowing us to use his music. Don't forget to get your copy of Only One Shot. That's available on Amazon, written by VJ Trolio. A lot of good golf weather left this fall. Get out there and play some golf. And remember, whether life or golf, you may have only one shot. You got to make it count, and we appreciate you being with us. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Fertile fields of flatlands and hills raised, bite anything, whatever a farmer can dream. Slug burgers, shrimp boil, catfish fried up in oil. Oh, good gosh almighty, just a husk of hot tamale now.